Hey, how you doing?
Welcome to Richmond. Can you just go over who's going to be not available, I guess, when you get rolling tomorrow?
Yeah, it'll be Jason Hatcher and Leonard Hankerson, Stephen Bowen, and Mo Hurt.
And with Hatcher, do you expect him to play at some point in the game?
I do. You know, he's been being monitored closely by Larry, our trainer, and as soon as they see fit, he'll be ready to go. But we want to make sure he's obviously ready to go.
What's wrong with Mo Hurt?
We just, he's came in a little bit out of shape, and we'll just go from there and make sure we monitor his condition moving forward.
Coach, to your left, just your thoughts on getting this thing started.
We're fired up. Everybody showed up on time. Everybody's eager, ready to roll. We had a great off-season program, like I said, and this is the beginning of something special, we hope. And all these guys are excited, like I said. The coaches are excited. I think the city's excited. And now it's just a matter of putting the work in and getting better every day. That's the motto.
Coach, over here. Right. He's Mark. You said you expected Jason to.
Damn.
Sign him up. You need a wide receiver?
No.
You said you expected Jason to be playing. The other guys, how encouraged are you with them, and do you foresee them being available to you?
Yeah, I never like to try to make predictions on when guys are going to come back. That's totally up to Larry and the training staff and the doctors and the player. So, obviously we have high hopes for them. They've been working very hard. They're making all their schedule appointments. They all want to be on the field as soon as possible, but I'm going to leave that up to Larry, and their progress will speak for itself. And we don't want to rush anybody back from an injury, obviously. So 100% is a good number for us. We're waiting for him to get to that.
Is it fair to say, though, that Hatcher's in another category than those other guys?
Yeah, it probably is. I think he'll be ready quicker than the others.
Jay, you've talked about how hard Robert's worked and how impressed you are with what he's done. But you've also said, at the quarterback position, you can't have everybody like you. That's just the way it's going to be. And I thought that was really telling us about, you recognizing who he is at this point. Where do you think he's at right now? I mean, obviously you're real happy with the off-season program, but, it gets ramped up here, as you know, obviously. Where do you think he's at right now?
Well, from a health standpoint, we feel good about where he is there, obviously. He's in great shape. We saw he ran excellent today. Physical condition, not an issue. Mental condition, we feel excellent. Sean's done an excellent job with him. Above the neck plays, he's doing a great job with the command of the game, the huddle. His progressions in the passing game, his audibles in the running game have been excellent. And then we just got to continue to build. He's in his third year, and he's still going to make mistakes here and there, but the key for him is to learn from his mistakes and not make the same mistakes over and over, and just continue to get better every day, and he's the type of guy that will.
And, Jay, just to follow up on that, practices are obviously closed, but just from talking to some players, they've said that there was no question about who the best quarterback on the field was. Would you say that obviously being Robert, would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, yes. Robert is the quarterback, that's for sure. That was hands down.
Are there certain things you want to define your practices here that you like to characterize your practices?
Well, every coach wants to have great energy and great tempo, and that's a big thing. We want to get in and out of the huddle. We want to have great tempo and try to simulate game fashion as best we can. So it's going to be hot. Practices sometimes, they roll into period after period after period. They can be mundane, but it's important for us as coaches to motivate and keep the tempo moving at a quick pace and make sure we're learning and coaching and the players are getting needed work, running to the football, pursuit, discipline, all that coach speak that you hear. It's what training camp's all about. Fundamentals of football need to be taught every play, every day. The tempo needs to be taught and worked on. The pursuit angles, the pursuit drills need to be practiced and worked on, and we strive for perfection.
Jay, this is the first time you've had a chance to craft a training camp, so to speak, the practice routine, the schedule, when to practice, what drills to go through. And I was wondering if you could talk us through a Cliff Notes version of that. How much did you rely on assistants, things you've observed over the years? How did you put this together, what you'll be doing the next 17 days or so?
Yeah, I try to use input from everybody. Coach Hazlitt has a lot of input. Obviously, Coach Kotwika, Sean McVay, Paul Kelly. We've all been in different systems and different programs, and we've seen how different teams do them, but some have been successful. But we try to do what's best for our team and for this place, and we just thought practice in the morning was the best option for us. Just walking out there today, it was hot, so I'm kind of glad we're going in the morning. I was sweating. This jacket was a bad choice, but I used everybody's input on that, as I do and coming up with game plans, and every decision I make will have input. Obviously, I'll have the final say, but I really expect that from the coaches.
Is there a certain drill or something novel that maybe that we'll see from you that perhaps we wouldn't have seen from another coach before?
I don't know. I haven't been to every coach's training camp, so we'll see. But, the big thing is we have a schedule drawn out. Now, how much we stick to that schedule will be determined on how we do. We might have to take a period out or add a period, a live tackling period or something along the way and change it up. But I don't think there's any special drill in football that I'm going to do that nobody's ever done before. I hope not. But it'll be football.
Not to harp too much, but again on Robert, he made a point to say, with it being his third year, he feels much more prepared this camp. And what ways maybe could you expand on that and seeing that kind of preparation and maturity from him this year?
He knows the tempo. He knows what has to go into the making of a great quarterback. He's got a long way to go. He understands that. The preparation, both physical and mental preparation. He's got a great understanding and a great feel for that already as a young guy. And the maturation process that he has to have, and the ability to make mistakes, learn from mistakes, take criticism. It makes you a better person and a stronger man, and he's realizing that, and he's just going to continue to get better. He's got all the talent in the world. There's no question about it. So we just got to get it out of him each and every day, and he's going to come to work and try to be a great player. And that's all we can ask for.
Richard Crawford and Tracy Porter were working on the side during the offseason program. Where are they now?
They're good. They're ready to roll. Yep.
Yeah, that was my question. All right, Jay, I was just curious. You've been on the job for a few months, obviously. Now you've gone through practice and all that. Is there a different feeling for you on the, before the first camp starts than even at any other point this offseason?
There's a lot of anticipation. You're excited about the season. You're nervous. You have butterflies walking out there every day. You want to make sure everything's right, and you want to make sure you're giving the players everything they need to succeed. With this great facility that we have, we feel like off the field they have everything they need. From the hotel to here, the training facility, we have everything they need to succeed. Now, as far as the practice schedule, our walkthroughs, how we schedule those, we're hoping to give them an opportunity to continue to speak our language, play our offense, play our defense, be taught in special teams, and continue to coach and get them ready for the first game at Houston.
For you, though, is there a point for you where you just say you take a moment to reflect on where you've been to get to this point, or is that part already done?
That's done, yeah. I try to move forward every day. I don't think about yesterday. We're thinking about tomorrow and what we can do to coach our guys up and get them ready for Houston.
Just along the lines of camp preparation, you seemed to indicate at the end of minicamp that you were a little bit nervous about having enough time to get everything done that you needed to plan. How do you feel? You think you got everything done, or you're going to be seeing day to day?
We got the schedules all done, man, so I feel good about it. And that's the stressful part of it, to make sure everything's on paper so the players know where they're going, what time the meetings are, and everything is in order. And we feel like we've done that. Paul Kelly does a great job as Director of Football Operations and helping me with that, and the other coaches. So now it's a matter of just getting these guys up in the morning, coming to our meetings, coming to practice, coaching them up, and making sure they're on time and learning. And it's going to be a great process. Like I said, a great facility, great hotel. This is a great place to learn. We got fans coming out here to watch them. There's no reason why they shouldn't be fired up to come to work and be excited for the start of the season.
Jay, there have been some good coaches here who have not had success. As a first-time head coach, do you look back at those situations, or do you just say, you know what, I've got my own program, and no matter what happened here before, I'm not really interested in that? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you try to learn from history. Coaches' past mistakes, not only here but every other franchise in the NFL, and you learn as a coach. I learned what we did in Cincinnati, what we did right, what I think we did wrong, how we ended the season, how poorly we finished, and what we can do to rectify that. So you try to take it all for a grain of salt, but ultimately it's your team and your stamp, and you have to do it your way and feel good about it and feel confident in your abilities in leading and coaching and not worry about the second guessing there, because it's going to come eventually. We're going to get second guessed all the time, but we have to feel confident the way we're doing things is the right way and the best way for them to succeed on Sundays, and ultimately that's all we can ask.
Jay, so much has been made, obviously, of Robert being free of the brace and physically free and healthy. Do you put any stock into the fact that he's mentally, emotionally a lot happier with you than obviously a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever it is, now that you guys have had a chance to develop a bond, a friendship, and that quarterback to head coach relationship?
Yeah, well, happiness comes with wins. Nobody's going to be happy if we're 2-14. So our whole goal is to make sure we make him as comfortable as possible with this system. And when he's out there on Sundays, that he's comfortable and feels good about the direction we're going offensively. And if we can make him feel comfortable and put him in a comfort zone and a place where he can succeed, then I feel like we'll have a much better chance with this franchise to be successful. But our relationship is what it is. My relationship with all the players hopefully is a good one and a strong one that I'm the coach, they're the player. But moving forward, I got their back, and we're going to do everything we can to help them, like I said.
If you had a checklist in your mind or a picture in your mind of coming out of training camp and what you want this to look like so you can say that was a successful first training camp, what would that look like?
I want to make sure we make the right decisions on players, number one. We have to make sure we get a good look at all the young guys, all the free agents, all the undrafted free agents, the draft picks, the veteran free agents, and make sure when we make our final cut down, we make the right choices, And hopefully these players will make it very difficult on us in making those decisions. But when you play 4 preseason games and you scrimmage against the New England Patriots, hopefully we'll get enough reps where we do make the right decision, because nothing's worse as a coach when you let somebody go and they go on and kick your ass later on, So we want to make sure we get these guys the reps necessary and keep who we think are the best 53 and make the right decisions.
Going through training camp as a coordinator and as an assistant coach is one thing, but as a first-time head coach, so far at this point, what has been the biggest challenge for you prepping for this training camp?
Like I said, just the schedules, all that stuff. It has not been hard. Bruce Allen's done an excellent job getting the right players in here, the coaching staff, the personnel department, of getting the right 90 guys here to Richmond. From there, it's about coaching, and I got a great staff. Like I said, I've mentioned 100 times before, the best thing I've done so far is hire a good staff, and they've done a great job of getting their players ready to get to this point. And now it's just moving forward. It's playing ball, coaching ball, and then making the decisions on the field, personnel-wise, and getting these guys upbeat and ready to go for Houston in a grind of a season. It's a 16-game season, obviously, and it's a grind. In order to go through that at a successful clip, you got to have the right people in here, and we got to make sure we keep the right people. But I know from a coaching staff standpoint, from a training staff, from a personnel staff, GM, all the way to the top to Mr. Snyder, I feel good about where we are. Now we just got to find the right 53 guys, and it's not going to be easy because we feel like we have a very good competitive group in this building.
Coach, I know it's important to look ahead in football, but do you see any of the guys who were here last year take the struggles and kind of have a chip on their shoulder coming into this camp and using that as motivation for
I hope so. Anytime you lose the last one, whether you go 2-14 or we were 11-5 in Cincy and lost the last one, you should have a chip on your shoulder. You should want to get back in the saddle and compete. And I think we have the type of guys here that all want to compete, whether they're coming from another team. We don't have anybody coming from Seattle, so everybody in this locker room, should have a chip on their shoulder, should be eager to get back on the field and excited to play. Football's a great game. It's a privilege to play this game, and I know they all love it, and they want to do well. So they're excited. Worked extremely hard with our strength and conditioning coaches in the off-season program, and you see them out there today running. They're all in good shape. So moving forward, I feel good about where we are. Now it's just a matter of getting them out there and playing.
You have New England coming in here in a couple of weeks over here.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get your thoughts on what do you feel about playing another team and scrimmage, so to speak, considering
I think it's a great change-up. These guys, after about 5 or 6 days of hitting each other, they get tired of looking at each other and smelling each other's breath. So to be able to play against New England, Coach Belichick and his team and Tom Brady and the rest of that team, Darrelle Revis will be here. It's going to be a great test for us. The young guys competing against other players, and sometimes you have us against us. They have some brotherly love. There won't be any brotherly love that week. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to be competing for roster spots. It'll be a great opportunity, just another chance for us to evaluate our players, and that's what it's all about. We're not going to try to out-trick the New England Patriots when they're here. We're going to try to line up, put our chin straps on, our mouthpieces in, and see where we are as a football team.
Jay, you said before that Sean spent time this offseason trying to get Robert's head right, getting his mental scheme, get him back focused. Was that something that needed to be done, or what?
That's
why
something that has to be done with every quarterback in the NFL. He's no exception. Now, the ones that have played for 15 and 20 years, some of the great ones of all time, they're working on their mental game every day, and that's just part of the position. When you sign up to play quarterback in the NFL, it's a grind mentally as well as physically. So that's never going to change from his 3rd year to his 10th year to his 15th year. He's got to challenge himself mentally every day in the offseason because things change, and he's got to be up to date with what's going on defensively.
What kinds of things were they working on?
Mentally, we got, all our passing game, his footwork, his fundamentals. I can sit here for 35, 40 minutes and talk about what he needs to work on. And I'll say the same thing about what Tom Brady needs to work on. You know what I mean? So that's just a position. And every position on the field regards training both mentally and physically. And that's not going to change. As long as you're an active football player, somebody's after your job, you're getting older, and you have to maintain your level of competitiveness and move on. That was a tough word.
Thanks. Yes, if you don't mind, one last on Robert. Given what you just said, it seems kind of even more stunning that he, was in the position of having to start the season without any training camp last summer. So the question is, in the ideal world, how do you hope these 20 days will benefit him in all facets? What do you hope that he'll get out of this first full, true, real preseason after missing the chance?
Repetition, reps. You can never have too many reps. We can run the same play 10 times and we might get 10 different defenses. And the more you see that play against different defenses, the more you see the blitzes that he has to handle from a quarterback position, step it up in the pocket, his fundamentals, his footwork. He just needs to continue to get reps. And I thought it's very difficult to miss an entire training camp in a preseason and come in week one and say, okay, here's the ball, go play. It's very difficult. So all quarterbacks need the reps. All quarterbacks want the reps. They desire the chance to compete, not only on Sundays, but every day during the week. And Robert is an ultimate competitor. He wants to compete every day, as do the rest of these guys. So the big thing is not make it so much about Robert, make it about the Redskins. But from Robert's standpoint, he just needs to keep getting the reps.
Coach, back to the left. Tomorrow and every day out here, you're going to have thousands of fans packed in here, and this will kind of be your first with Redskins fans in close quarters. Curious what you either expect to hear from them or what you have heard being out and about throughout your first few months on the job.
Everything's been positive. I think they're all excited for the season start. It's a brand new season. There's 32 teams, and everybody has the same expectation and the same goals. We just put last year behind us. We're not going to talk about that anymore. We're just going to move forward and try to get some guys in here that love to play, want to play, and are going to work hard and be great. The fans can be proud of when they come to the stadium. They know they're going to get a great effort from their players, and I think we have a group of guys that will do that. And with great effort comes wins, and that's what we're all about.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.